Today, I'm here with Matt Hale, the CEO of ACU Development. This company is a franchisor of modern acupuncture, which is set to be one of the fastest growing franchises ever. They sold 360 regional developer and franchise licenses in just 10 months of being founded. Before this, Matt was the Vice President of Operations and a founding member of the management team at The Joint Chiropractic. His leadership played a key role in growing the brand and taking the company public in 2014. Matt is a franchising expert, and today we talk about what it takes to turn a business concept into reality and how to be a successful franchisee.
If you own a gym or you need a gym, this is your guy.
My name's Mike, and I help fitness studios that are ready to take action, work hard, and grow their studios. In this very saturated industry, there's tons of competition, but the opportunities are incredible. We'll cover the most common challenges in the fitness world and invite guests in the show that have learned to overcome them and share their strategies with you. This is the GSD Show. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Arce. Welcome back to another episode of the GSD Show. And I'm here with Matt today. Matt, say what's up.
How you doing?
So you guys already got to see and hear a little bit about Matt in the intro, but I want to dig a little deeper because this episode is going to teach you guys a lot, and particularly in the franchise world. So for those of you that are listening and those of you that are watching, I want to know exactly, I want you to know exactly what we're going to be going over here. If you are an independent fitness studio owner or small business owner and you are not involved in a franchise, maybe you thought about doing it, this is going to teach you how you can start building that process. If you're already in a franchise and it's not going so well, this is going to teach you how to help you improve those things. Or if you're a franchisor and things aren't going as great as you thought they would go, this is going to help you with that. Matt has a ton of experience in the franchise world, and the things that you're going to learn from him are going to blow your mind. And we're going to dig into a little bit about what you've done so that everybody listening and everybody watching knows you're the real deal like I do. And then after that, once you guys are convinced that, man, this guy knows his stuff, we're going to dig in. You're just going to start giving us some cool info.
Perfect.
Good?
Sounds great.
All right, so let's start. Your whole world in the franchise world, I guess, that started at the age of 23, right?
Correct.
So, and that was a restaurant, totally separate from today.
Totally separate,
But talk to me about your experience quickly in the restaurant and what happened.
Sure. When I was 23 years old, I was attending college at the University of New Mexico.
Okay.
Put together a business plan. There was a new franchise concept in Albuquerque, a restaurant concept that I loved. And I was always an entrepreneur growing up. I had my own, at 15, I started a yard business in my neighborhood.
Okay.
Yep. So this, always entrepreneur, right? Always thinking, how can I leverage my talents and how can I make some money and how can I become a franchisee? And franchising was very appealing to me because it was a business in a box, right? So 23 years old out of college, put together a business plan and raised $500,000.
Okay.
Moved from
Okay, what's up?
Yep.
How did you raise $500,000 at 23 years old? Because I couldn't get anybody to give me $50 for like a night out.
So what I did is in this business plan, I felt like if people actually came into this restaurant and tasted the food and experienced what I experienced, that would be the first piece of it, right?
Okay.
The other piece of it was I was very driven. And my plan was not to just open one, but to open 10 units or 10 restaurants, right, in a short period of time. When I was 23 years old that same year, I wrote all my goals down for the next 20 years. And one of my goals was the ability to retire at 42 years old.
Okay.
And so to me, having this vision, which I shared with a potential investor, that this is what I want to do, I laid it all out. And they just through that alone, they said, wow, this guy seems pretty credible. Right. He's very driven, and so I'm going to sign on the dotted line. I'm going to give him the $500,000 because I think this guy can do it.
Okay. And really quick, so I'm going to dig into that.
Sure.
For the people that are watching on Facebook Live, I'm going to ask you to put in the comments, when you hear Albuquerque, do you think Breaking Bad or do you think Bugs Bunny? Left Point at Albuquerque or Breaking Bad? Go ahead and use the comments below and let me know what you think. All right, so let's dive back in. So you were in the restaurant business now with that franchise for 5 years.
Correct.
Now, that didn't work out as well as some of the other things down the road, which hey, that's usually how it goes. But talk to me about why did that franchise not do well? Because it was the franchise itself. It seemed other franchisees really suffering, right?
Yeah, keep in mind this was in 2008, right? Or
Okay.
excuse me, 2003. This is during the low carb phase. The Atkins diet had hit, and this was an Italian type restaurant. We served noodle dishes from all over the world. So we were facing that, right? That was one piece of it. The second piece of it was I was 23 years old, and we came into this, and I was hired 42 employees that first week we were open.
Okay.
So I learned a ton. I learned more in those 5 years of franchising than I learned in any part of my life.
Really?
Even through college. Oh yeah, because you dive into a business, and that really, I was working 7 days a week.
Okay.
And you really understand who you are and what your work ethic's going to be when you're put in a position I had to cover $45,000 a month just to break even.
Wow.
It's a lot of pasta.
Wow.
It's a lot of pasta. So we went through the Atkins diet, and
It's a lot of carbs.
It is a lot of carbs, and it wasn't a concept that here in Arizona that was taken all that well. Does phenomenal in the Southeast, phenomenal.
Okay.
And people, there's a little bit different diets there, but we went through it for 5 years. We ended up selling to a local franchisee, and the concept just didn't make it. And that's franchising. There's concepts out there, particularly in the restaurant business. There's concepts out there that people launch, and for whatever reason, they just don't make it.
Okay.
People in the community, people in Arizona didn't like pasta as much as I thought they would.
Right.
But again, I wouldn't change that experience for the world.
You learned a lot, and I think most people learn more from their failures, right?
Absolutely.
Or other people's failures. The benefit of having mentors is because your mentors have failed things, and you get to learn from their failures, which is great.
Yep.
And they love helping people there.
Sure.
So let's really quick, we're going to fast forward through your experience at the Joint and Massage Envy. We're going to circle back to it.
Okay.
But guys, for those of you watching and listening, you started modern acupuncture, about a year ago?
A year ago next week.
Correct. A year ago next week. So a year ago, he started this business, modern acupuncture. We're going to fill in the blanks here in a minute, but within 1 year, you not only are hitting your goals and exceeding expectations with what you wanted to do with that location.
Correct.
But you've already gotten over 300 people or over 300 locations licenses for franchisees ready to go.
In development in the United States. Correct.
So just so you guys know, this isn't like you pay $5,000 and you got a spot. Okay, so if I wanted to be a franchisee of your business, just to show you how good of a model he's built, and when you guys have good models, what you can do as well. So if I wanted to be a franchisee, what's it going to cost me to be a franchisee of Modern Acupuncture?
That's a good question.
Matt is a serious expert when it comes to franchising, and today he's going to share some of that knowledge with you. And if you're seriously considering franchising, Matt can help make the decision process a little easier for you. He's giving away a PDF on how to tell if franchising is right for you. So go to thegsdshow.com/E069 to get your copy. Again, that's thegsdshow.com/E069. Thanks, and back to the episode.
Your first investment's going to be $29,500, and that's for the license. Okay.
Okay.
Once you purchase a license, you become a franchisee.
Okay.
We'll take you through extensive training, so you're going to know how to open your clinic, how to hire. Right?
And you've had to screen them to make sure they have the capital to fund all the things they need to buy, build, all that.
Correct.
Right?
There's net worth requirements within our franchise agreement.
Okay.
Once you get through that phase and you're qualified, then it's the $29,500 investment. Now, the rest of your investment, so we have a range in our FDD, which is our franchise disclosure document. The range to open a modern acupuncture, which includes the $29,500, is right around $240,000 to $440,000.
So you've sold over 300 like that.
Correct. And so keep in mind, though, all the capital requirements, once they've given us the $29,500, we award the license. The rest of the capital requirement is up to the franchisee to pay, and a big chunk of that's for the furniture, fixture, equipment, and the build out of the space.
I don't know if you guys have done the math already, but that is a shitload of money, right? That you've been able to produce in just a matter of 1 year based on your track record, which we're going to dive into that, but also your ability to develop or prove a model. And not only do they have to pay that right up front, right, and just make sure they have that money,
correct,
but they have to make sure they pay you each month, right? So what's it cost me to be a franchisee of Modern Acupuncture every single month that I'm in business?
Okay, so once your doors open, you pay 7% royalty
Okay.
every month.
Of
gross revenue.
Gross revenue.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's how most franchisors work.
Right.
You look at McDonald's, Taco Bell, they're at like 14%.
Okay.
Okay, we're at 7%. And then we have what's called a National Ad Fund, which is 2%.
Okay.
So you're at 9% total.
Okay.
And that 2%, once we get saturation, we can use for, it's really to build the brand. It's to tell our story nationally once we get large enough. The 2%, as we grow, will be used in different regions, again, for marketing efforts. It's a completely separate fund. So yes, it's 7% and 2% monthly.
Now, your goal was to retire at 42. Still the goal?
It wasn't, yeah.
You don't feel 39 anymore, do you? You
Hey,
feel
38,
like
buddy.
38? Oh, okay, sorry.
No, I'm
So you still feel like you probably got another 20, 30 years of the same Matt that you are today.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, the goal was to have the ability to retire and not necessarily to retire.
Well, when you sell over 300 franchises like that, I think you're setting yourself up, so that's good. All right, so now, obviously, you don't just invest into a business like this unless the person behind it, the leader of this whole franchise, has some great credibility behind him. And Matt does have that. So Matt, you worked with The Joint and you also had your hands involved with Massage Envy as well, is that right?
Well, my affiliation with Massage Envy. So in 2010, I was approached by John Leonesio, and he was the founder of Massage Envy. Okay. And he sold it in 2008. He did pretty well for himself.
Yes.
And he approached me and a few others in 2010 and said, "Hey, I've got this chiropractic concept. There's only 8 units right now. It was started by Dr. Fred. He was a chiropractor. He didn't know how to franchise it because he was a chiropractor, right? Nothing against chiropractors, but he lacked the understanding of how to take his simple business and turn it into a franchise.
And that's not chiropractors, that's all small business service-based companies, right?
Correct, yeah. Okay. And there's really a blueprint to it. So anyhow, with John Leonesio, he approached us and we said, okay, let's go take a look at the 8 units they have open. Flew out to Austin, saw the 1 unit there, and we said, okay, we can take this. We can take it back. We can apply a membership model to it. We can scale it. We can give it a completely different look and feel. We already have the blueprint from franchising in the past. We can apply a lot of this stuff because I think in any franchise concept, you got 85 to 90% of the stuff, right, you've done in the past and taken a model and now turn it into a franchise. So it's no different in food or any other concept. You just have to make those small tweaks, right, to ensure that your audience here and what you're doing is for this concept. So we took The Joint from 8 units in 2010, and when I left and gave notice, I was the vice president of operations there.
When was that?
So a year ago this week.
So 2016, so
Correct.
6 years?
So in 6 years, we took it from 8 to 340 open with another couple hundred licenses in development.
Wow.
And I think they're currently at close to 400 open, and we also took them public in 2014. So
now, I don't know how many states they're in. Here in Arizona, like everyone knows The Joint.
Yeah.
They're everywhere.
Yeah.
So how many states is The Joint in right now?
I think they're in 32 states.
So they're pretty well known.
They're very well known.
So you guys went from 8 to over 300 with 200 more.
Correct.
So let's talk about that because a lot of the people that are listening, they're either part of a franchise and a lot of them have hopes of, hey, if this works well, we'll get a second one, we'll get a third one, we'll get a fourth one, we'll have 10 of these things, right? So a lot of them have that, and then they get the first one. They just can't seem to get comfortable in there where it's like, okay, we're making money, we're profitable. So what do you think makes a good franchisee? What are you looking for? If, let's say I'm going to be your ideal franchisee, the guy that's going to be so successful with one that he'll probably have 20 in 5 years, what do I look like?
So that's a really good question because a lot of times we'll think that someone will come in for what's called a discovery day. And that's where they come out and check out the concept. They meet the corporate team. They learn more. They get asked questions about the concept and find out if it's a right fit for them. So every time someone comes in, 9 times out of 10, if we believe they're going to be a good operator or a good franchisee, as you put it, they are. But sometimes there's 1 out of 10 that you just misread. And those ones that we misread are individuals that they don't have the passion for what they're getting into.
Now, are you saying business or the type of business?
I believe that you have to have vision. You have to have passion in the type of business that you're getting into.
Okay. So I need to love acupuncture if it's modern acupuncture. I need to love fitness if it's fitness.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Why would you get into something that you didn't love?
Right.
I know there's passive investors out there that invest in things all the time. But when you get down to it and you're in the business daily, you have to have a passion for it or it's not going to last.
Got it. Okay.
I think number 2 is you have to be a franchisee that understands that, yes, I bought a business in a box, but it's not going to operate itself.
Okay.
A lot of the franchisees that fail, they open their concept and then they let their staff run it. They don't have their finger on the heartbeat of the business, which is really new people coming in.
Right.
They don't have weekly staff meetings with their staff and look at the metrics that are the drivers behind the business to make it better.
Let's talk about that really quick.
Sure.
What are the metrics that me as an operator, I need to pay attention to daily or weekly or monthly in order to make sure that I'm moving forward and I'm not losing opportunity with this business?
So in any type of business, the reporting is one of the things that you want to focus on.
Okay.
We're using right now MindBody, which has great reporting capabilities.
Right.
And within that, we look at certain things, and let me give you an example. So one of the things that we really focus on is new patient conversion.
Okay.
And let me tell you what that is. So when a new patient comes in, it's up to the person up front, the front desk individual called a Zen advisor, to sell a membership to that patient. Okay, and that's they either sell a membership or a package, and that's considered a conversion. Okay. That's one of the metrics we look at. We also look at how many times have you, as a new patient, come in over a 30-day period, right? Because the only way a business is going to sustain and last is if that customer continues to be a customer of yours, right? So that's another metric we look at. We also look at revenue, right? So what we'll be able to do for the system is we'll create baselines for all these metrics, and then we can go in and say, okay, if your conversion's low, we create the training behind that and the scripting that's necessary for the franchisee to be successful. So when you're buying a business in a box, you have these tools to be successful, and that's why you as a franchisee have to identify those metrics and know where you need to tweak, right? Stuff that's going on in your business to take it to the next level.
You know, and with my business, we work with tons of franchises. I think we work with over 40 different franchises right now, and a lot of franchisees within those franchises. And you know, something that I'm sure you've done in your business in order to grow it and scale is something we've done, which is, okay, let's identify who our best customers are, and let's identify who are not our best customers. And just so you know what I mean by best customers, worst customers, is not necessarily who do I enjoy working with, that is kind of part of it, but also who am I a perfect vendor for?
Sure.
You know, like who is like, man, that person needs to be with us because we'll just crush it for them.
Yeah.
But what I've learned is the best franchisees and business owners in general, whether you own a franchise or not, period, doesn't matter. The best small business owners are constantly learning, and they're like hungry for information on how to run their business better. Yep. The people listening to this and watching this and all that right now, they're in that demographic. They're also reading books regularly. They're getting coaching. They're getting mentoring. They're looking to be a student of the game. Okay. Right?
Yep.
And the ones that already know it all or don't find the time, I don't say have the time because everyone has the time. You find the time. Don't find the time to be a better business owner. Those people are constantly struggling and blaming somebody. My employees, my customers. Oh, it's saturated, too much competition.
Sure.
You know, the advertising's not working. My bookkeeper's bad. Like, there's always something outside of here.
Yep.
So now you've gotten to work with a lot of franchisees.
Yep.
How true would you say that's been in your experience?
I think it's very true. I go back to what we were talking about earlier, and the franchisees that are not involved in their business are the ones that say, hey, this is corporate's fault. Hey, this is the concept that's not working. Hey, it's the competition down the street. Right. Hey, there's, you know, I never got into this and would think that, you know, I would be doing this volume when I was told that I would be doing this. So there's always those franchisees that are not involved in their business. And it goes back to what I told you earlier. If you can set the expectation and your staff knows that, okay, this month we're going to have 120 new patients walk through that door. How are we going to do that? Well, our service here has to be unbelievable. We have to ask for the referral. The patient in the back should have the best experience they've ever had, whether they've been to acupuncture or not. So I go back to the metrics, right? And you look at all this information and the data that you have, then on a weekly basis, you can meet with your staff and they know what the expectations are. You'd be blown away how many joint clinics I'd walk into. And I would ask the person at the front or the chiropractor, I said, what are the goals? What are the goals this month?
Right.
What do you mean, what are the goals? What are the revenue goals for the clinic? What are the new patient goals for the clinic? What are the conversion goals for the clinic? What's your secret shopper score for the clinic? How come you don't know any of this information? It's because the franchisee never took the time to meet with their staff and say, here are the expectations, here are our goals. And so every month, every week, if you do that, you can improve upon your goals. And not only that, you can bonus your staff on these objectives, right? I mean, one of the first things we did at Modern Acupuncture, I threw on the board in the staff meeting, I said, we're gonna sell 250 of these in a year. And everyone's like, holy cow, how are we going to do that? Right. Because we've written it down on the board and we're going to make it happen.
Right.
And that doesn't happen very often.
You know, what Matt's talking about, just to put in a different perspective, keeping score is extremely important because it changes the performance of everyone that's playing.
Huge.
So imagine you and your staff, I don't care if you have 6 people or 12 people or whatever, imagine you guys decided to get in like a friendly volleyball game with other companies, right? And just say, hey, let's all the companies in the community, the pizzeria, the fitness studio, the massage, let's all get together and let's have like a big volleyball tournament.
Yeah.
And you have your staff of like, let's say 8 people, and here's the rule. There are no rules, there are no points. Just play and have fun.
Yeah.
How do you think they would play as opposed to in like an alternate universe where we say, how about this? We will have scores and everyone here wants to win. Just so you know, your teammates want to win.
Yep.
And so the score is going to be right there the entire time for everyone to see it. And the game ends in 10 minutes. So if you guys don't hit the total score that you have to hit, whoever has the most points at the end of 10 minutes wins. Right? How do you think those people will perform versus in the other alternate universe where it's like, hey, just have fun.
Yeah.
No points.
So when you share that with the entire system, it creates that competition.
Right.
And now the guy that has the clinic in Scottsdale, Arizona sees the guy that opened in Houston is going past him really quick. Right. What's it going to do with this guy over here in Scottsdale? He's like, come on, man, we got to get this in gear. Right. So you've created that competition. And so these personalities, everyone wants to be number one. And what does it do? It drives up revenues. It increases the number of new people that come to your concept.
Ideas get stimulated.
Ideas, exactly. And you learn a lot. That's a great point. You learn a lot from the franchisees that come on board in any concept. If you're a franchisor that doesn't listen to your franchisees, it's a huge mistake. Right. Some of the best ideas. The Egg McMuffin from McDonald's came from a franchisee. The Big Mac came from a franchisee. Those are things that if you have a franchisor that's willing to listen, there's great ideas that come out from the street.
One of the things that I've learned in business, not just within my businesses, but also within my coaches, my mentors' businesses, my friends, yes, score is something that people want to play for, but I think sometimes business owners have a mission personally.
Yeah.
Like you wanted to be able to retire at 42, right?
Sure.
Like that was a personal mission. There's business missions as well, but they don't make that a big enough part of the company for everyone else. So you don't have enough of your players, enough of your team members working towards a similar mission. Sure. Some of them don't even know what the mission is. Yeah. You have a cool mission.
Thank you.
And so I want you to dive into it. What does everyone within your organization know the mission is? What's that mission and how did you come up with it?
So our mission is to make your life better.
Okay, tell me what that means.
So let me tell you how we got into this, first of all. So going back to the joint real quick, we came up with a mission and I was part of it. And it was to improve your life through routine and affordable chiropractic care. Okay. Very powerful. That was consumer facing, right, towards the patient. So one of the first things I wanted to do here was come up with a mission that just wasn't consumer facing, but also supported the entire organization. Okay. And so I thought about it, and it was one of the things that was on my list to do. I was very passionate about it because I'm very passionate about creating a culture where people want to work. Okay. People where I can put the guardrails up and they can use their skill set, right, to develop what we're developing. So I started thinking, and I was on an airplane ride with my business partner. We were going out to San Diego. And I said, hey, Steve, what do you think about this? My mission is to make your life better. And he looked at me like, man, that's powerful. And I said, well, that's what we're doing here. I said, everybody that we hire at the corporate office, I want to create an environment that's amazing for them, right? We have an individual that has a young son, he's 2 years old, and she wanted to work a few days from home. Okay. And I said, absolutely. It's not going to impact what she's doing. She's still going to have a sitter there. Again, it's those types of things that make her life better. And then it cascades down through the entire organization.
So guys, a mission, if you guys I mean, there's books on how to do stuff like this. Scaling Up really dives into it, the Rockefeller Habits, which Scaling Up is really like a 2.0 version of it.
Yeah.
Traction talks a lot about it. It's a great book. Sam, you can put these up on the screen too. So we have a lot of content out there on how to create a great mission and vision and all that stuff. So I won't dive too much deeper into that because I like what you're saying. What I do want to dive into is sales.
Okay.
The reason I want to dive into it is because you've sold more franchises than most small businesses can sell customers or patients, clients, right? Depending on what they call them, members. There's all different terms.
Sure.
So people have a hard time getting people to buy something that costs just like $100 a month. And you're selling something that costs hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? So I'm assuming you're pretty good at sales. So what I want to talk about is, number one, if I'm an operator or a small, whether I have a franchise or not, if I'm a small business, I want to know what your thoughts are on sales skill development, as well as add-ons and upsells. Okay? Sure.
So let me tell you why we got into this, why I got into modern acupuncture, because this will help frame your question. We were looking at, I've always been an entrepreneur, and back in 2015 when I was at the Joint, originally I said, okay, I'll spend 3 to 5 years here on this project. And I started looking into other healthcare. I started looking into laser concepts, right? Other beauty concepts. And the barrier to entry was really low, meaning that a lot of people could get in. Same thing with a lot of the gyms as well. There's some fabulous gym concepts out there. But I wanted to stay a little bit more in the healthcare, something a little more related to chiropractic. So we started looking around and found out that acupuncture is one of the fastest growing medicines in the United States, right? And in the world. And then I started doing more research, and I'm like, man, there's some marvelous studies out scientifically that's proven that acupuncture is a proven solution for pain, right? Cosmetic, reduce fine lines and wrinkles. It went on and on and on. And that's the point in time I said, okay, I'm going to go all in, and I'm going to jump ship. I'm going to resign from the Joint, and I'm going to get into modern acupuncture. So what we do when we have discovery days and franchisees that come in, we tell them, myself and the partners, the reason we got into it. And the reason we got into it is exactly what I've laid out. We think the timing is impeccable. We think that alternative medicine will become 10 times more than what it is today. And if you look at healthcare, I mean, there's $30 billion a year spent on alternative healthcare in the United States. So that's the reason we got into it. And when we bring people in and we talk about this concept, we don't sell them. We say, here are the reasons why we got into it, and here's the team that's here to support you. Now you make the decision.
Oh, but that's selling them.
It's selling them in
it's
a different...
selling them. But what you're doing is, and so just to kind of bring clarity to it, what you're really saying is you're not being salesy.
You're exactly right.
But really selling is being able to identify a desire or a pain point, and either bring people towards a desire or away from the pain point, which naturally is in the direction of desire, right? And be able to present what your option is as the best solution and almost a no-brainer. That's really great ethical sales. And it's a power, it's a skill that if you develop, you can use it for good or evil, just like flying or seeing through walls and all that stuff. But, you know, a lot of people don't develop this. It's like, if you could develop the skill of flying, you would do it because your life would be better. Like, I would love to fly. I would my life would be so much more efficient. I would have gotten here earlier. Because I would have gone over the traffic, right? So, but the thing is, with sales, we don't look at it as a superpower. We see it as a thing that we don't want to do. Maybe we hire somebody, we bring somebody on at a low base or zero base, and then we just pay them commission. Because it's so not like respected by people that don't get it and understand it. So the way you framed it, you don't see it as salesy, but that's really what makes a great salesperson. Is I'm not here to persuade you or convince you. I'm here to present this in the best way I could present it so that you can see it the way you need to see it to make a good educated decision yourself.
And in terms of what you were saying about upselling, right? That was one of your questions as well.
Upselling, add-ons, all those,
Add-ons, upselling. One thing I learned at the Joint is that when you come into a concept, there's a learning curve to it. Right? You've got new franchisees potentially never owned a business before. So why throw a bunch at them? You got to keep it simple. And I always lived by what I call the 3 M's. You make something, it's the first M. You master it. Once you master it, you've officially made it. And at the Joint, my mantra was, we haven't mastered chiropractic yet. We haven't mastered the delivery of it. We've got kids coming out of school who aren't proficient at it. We're in the chiropractic business. And all the franchisees are like, we need line extensions, we need to upsell them on nutraceuticals, we need to do all this stuff. And I said, wait, we haven't even mastered what we're doing here yet.
Right.
Let's master it first, and then let's start to
Before
add
you can sell the fries, get the burger tasting good.
You're exactly right, because they're not going to come back, right, if you haven't mastered what you're delivering and what you specialize in.
Some people go to McDonald's for the fries.
Yeah, that's very true.
But not enough.
But I think the fries are better than the burgers anyway.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, you're probably right. And they're probably more real.
Yeah.
So once you've developed mastery around the main product or service that people are buying into, then you do add-ons, upsells, and bring other opportunities for revenue in play?
Absolutely, yes. And so the joint now, they're 6-7 years in, they're starting to look at line extensions and upsells, right? And they're looking at the nutraceutical stuff. They're looking at adding potentially stretching to the regimen. Here, what would be an easy add-on for us in modern acupuncture is you look at all the other stuff that's out there right now, right? All the other things that you can buy at, chiropractors and acupuncturists are selling everything under the sun.
Such as, give me like one or two examples.
Well, if you go to an acupuncturist now, they might do cupping, they might do other modalities of treatment, right?
Which, by the way, Sam put that on like a little clip of what cupping looks like, because I just learned about this like 6 months ago. It's crazy. Yeah. People leave there looking like they just got hit by a bunch of Nerf balls, like at point blank range, hard.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can, because it's seamless. It's like you're here for this already. You want great care, and we actually do provide this.
Yeah. So herbs, right, would be a great line extension for us down the road, and that would be another opportunity to keep engaging the customer. But for right now, I want us to be experts in providing acupuncture, and for it to become a routine part of their lifestyle, as opposed to, hey, I'm in pain, I need to go to the acupuncturist. I want people to think, I feel great. I'm going to keep going to the acupuncturist, just like people go to the gym. Because they feel fantastic. The same thing here.
Right. People don't drink water because they feel dehydrated. They know they should be drinking water.
From a preventative approach, exactly.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Okay, so before we wrap up here, there's a couple things I want to go into, and it's great for you guys to understand this too. There's a reason you like franchising, and you had some really great stats and numbers on where the franchise world is heading, right? So tell me about franchise, like last year compared to this year, next year, all the things you were kind of mentioning in your points about why franchising is such a great opportunity.
Okay. Well, so annually the GDP for the U.S. is $16 trillion.
And say GDP for everybody?
Gross domestic products for the United States, $16 trillion.
Okay.
Franchising makes up $2 trillion of that.
Okay.
Can you believe that?
A lot.
So every year, and I'll have to look at my sheet here to give you the exact numbers, but the franchise sector is expected to grow by $32 billion in 2017. And that'll be up from the previous year. So we're looking at, it's expected to grow to $710 billion in 2017, up from $670 billion. So that's a 5% increase over 2016.
Which is huge when you're playing with volume that large.
It is huge. And it tells you that there's ample opportunity out there for those that, I think the secret sauce behind all that is the biggest piece is the consumer facing, right, operations. They walk in and they want consistency. That's how you build a brand. So the secret sauce is creating standards. And let me give you an example. Standard number 3 at Modern Acupuncture is for when someone walks in the door, for the Zen advisor, again, the person behind the front desk, to stand up and welcome them to Modern Acupuncture with a smile on their face. It has to be done every single time. And so when you can standardize the operation of your business, and it's pretty easy to do, that's how you build consistency, and that's how you build a brand.
Right. Does that sound familiar, Kelsey and Sam? Yeah. At Loud Room, we did the same rule. You walk in, everyone now it's getting overwhelming. Because we have like 18 people now. And so you just have like 18 people just like walking towards you. You feel like Simba in The Lion King. Like, what's about to happen? All these things are coming at me.
Where's your office? I'm going to come in.
Yeah, go in anytime you want to. They'll do it. And if they don't, let me know. But they will. Because I've already had people tell me, they're like, man, I went in there and people just came up to me, started shaking my hands. It was overwhelming.
It's awesome.
So it's great. So yeah, just understand that's part of mission. Setting standards, setting processes, systems. And some of those ideas will come from the staff.
Sure.
And a lot of ideas are going to be bad. So don't implement not only your staff's ideas, but even your own ideas. Most ideas suck. Most ideas suck. But it's like a muscle. You just keep swinging.
Sure.
And eventually you get better at getting ideas. Now instead of 9 out of 10 sucking, maybe like 8 out of 10 sucking.
Yeah.
But I mean, a great baseball player bats 300, right? Like
Sure.
he's missing 70% of them.
Yeah.
And I think if I could have a 30% idea average, like 30% of my ideas are good, I'm pretty set.
Yeah, you're right. You're exactly right. And so what I do when people come to me with an idea, and I tell them this, and I tell the franchisees this, I love ideas. But if you don't have a plan behind the idea, I don't even want to see it. Because an idea is worth $20. An idea with a sophisticated plan behind it could be worth $2 million.
Yep, I want to know why it's going to work, and I want you, you know what's
and
great
most
too?
importantly is how, right? How are we going to execute your idea?
How are we going to execute it? Who's going to be
implement it.
executing it? And then I also like when people ask themselves before they even present it, how could this not work? And start playing devil's advocate to your own idea first. What would get in the way? How would this not work? How could this suck? And then most of the time it never gets to me, which is good. When you start doing that, it's great. And sometimes I don't even get it to the staff because I've already thought, okay, that's not going to work.
Take notes on that. That's a good one. I like that.
All right, so last thing before we sign off here, with modern acupuncture, why modern acupuncture? What makes that a really great brand for whether it's a franchisee to invest into or a patient? You help patients, customers? Patients, okay. For a patient to buy into. Why modern acupuncture? Why not like something else that's just the same to the eye of everyone else?
Well, again, it goes back to that consistency piece that I talked about. We've brought on board, I didn't know a lot about acupuncture. We brought a gentleman on board who's a partner of ours. His name's Bob Dunn, and he's out of Seattle. And Bob's been in the acupuncture space for 25 years. He's world renowned. He teaches in 25 different countries. He's got people from all over the country that come see him for his technique. Wow. Now, we brought him on board to apply our technique, and we've gone through, we've invested a lot of money in training and online training for our acupuncturists that come into modern acupuncture. So we feel not just the service that you're going to get and his technique, which is proven you could come in with, and we've had people come in with certain pains they've had for a long period of time, and they get instant relief. It's remarkable.
Right.
So not only just his technique, but the environment that we've created as well. We call it our Zen Den, right? That's where we've got a chair that you can kick back in. You can turn the heat on. It has heat functionality. It has massage functionality as well. And you get away from the world for 30 minutes. Where else can you go and reduce pain potentially? Or we also have cosmetic where you can reduce the fine lines and wrinkles. You don't need it. You have nice looking skin. But where else can you go?
What a listen, don't flatter me because I know I got a mirror at my house. I got like 5 mirrors. I see them, man. I'm probably going to need some of that stuff here pretty soon. This stuff right here, this is well earned though. That's 4 kids and 9 years of business.
Yeah, you look
that's
pretty
well
good
earned
though for 4 kids.
Yeah.
So back to the environment that we've created, and then also you look at a lot of practitioners. They want to do what's right for them. So for them, they want to be open 3 days a week and closed for 2 hours for lunch and not open on nights and weekends. We do the complete opposite. We look and say, what does the consumer want? They want affordability, right? So we can do the national average for acupuncture is around $75 a treatment. You can get 2 at modern acupuncture for $59 for traditional. They want convenience. We're in great shopping centers. We try and go in where the Starbucks are and the Chipotles, right, and the neighborhood grocer. We try and go into those centers so we're convenient. And then we're open nights and weekends. That's what the customer wants. Right? This day and age, they want convenience and they want affordability and they want it now.
And a lot of people are not open nights and weekends?
Correct. No. I mean, you'd be hard pressed to find other acupuncturists or even, and it was the same thing we got in the chiropractic space.
So for those of you that are huge fans of the GSD show, you've probably already watched episode 62, and Matt just did exactly what Grant Cardone talked about, which is first thing I would do, that's what he said, first thing I would do if I want to be successful is I'm going to make a list of all the most successful competitors in my area, and then I'm going to take that, I'm going to make a list of all the things they are unwilling to do, and then I'm just going to go hard and double down on all those things. If they're not open weekends, I'm going to be open weekends. If they're not open nights, I'm going to open nights. And you just basically did what Mr. Grant Cardone recommends he do first before doing anything else.
Yeah, well, it seems like it's a winning formula.
Yep. Cool. Well, guys, I hope you had a great time listening to Matt. Just amazing information. Make sure you keep following Modern Acupuncture to just see what it's like to watch a company go from one location to hundreds, maybe even thousands soon, and be able to just watch it as a spectator. And if you want to go even deeper, then just buy a franchise. He sounds like he knows what he's doing. Thanks, guys. We will see you next week. Thanks so much for joining us today. If you like this episode, then subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher, and to our YouTube channel to never miss an episode. You can get all the links by going to thegsdshow.com. Thanks, and see you next time.